Why do we do that? Why do short girls usually run the time?
Yeah.
Stuff that we might have. We have
That's why.
Stand around there somewhere.
Two of my brothers are sometimes sorry.
So you saw my what down?
You can already show on the dashboard.
You know what it's gonna see, the last thing it's gonna see is the back.
She's feisty today, so.
What am I not feisty?
True story. Extra feisty. Extra spicy.
Extra spicy. God didn't give you red hair for nothing.
Extra sugar.
You know what? Keep it up. Sassy watch, keep it up.
Alright. That's squash. I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna call the meeting order.
Okay.
At 5:05. Who's right? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Mr. Snyder, the agenda, is there anything, although it's pretty short, is there anything to move around or?
No, not really, but as you know, we've, been out 2 weeks and moved the schedule up a week for the meeting, so.
Yeah.
Literally got a week of activity.
That's correct. Not a whole lot here. Perfect, unless somebody has any questions about the agenda, need a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Minutes.
I did not see it.
I do not.
No.
What is a? No, it wasn't a typo. You know, the only thing, and I don't know, maybe we've done this before, when we strike items, should we list what the item is outside of item number C or item number C?
Yeah, we should.
Should we list what
What it is?
topic was?
Okay.
I guess we can always look back on the previous agenda.
Yeah, because we have them
Yeah.
stored, so.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what's the.
I'll let it.
It wouldn't be bad to
That
have.
way we just look at it and then you can tell.
You can tell what it's, without having to go backwards. Outside that, I don't think we're just stuck out here.
There's the pledge, we're gonna still.
Does anybody have any questions about last meeting's minutes? Motion to approve. Appreciate it.
I'll make that motion. You second? Sorry. I'll second.
All in favor? Okay. Public comment. Anybody sign to speak, Mr. Snyder? No. Perfect. All right, next we can verify financials, budget adjustments, or let's just start with. Start with do your job, just because there's nothing there.
Like I say, don't have any bars right now, so it's just basically approval for maintenance and transfer bars, so the negative ounces.
Anybody have any questions about that? Need a motion, just need a motion to approve any maintenance and transfer bars to be completed.
And then, so nothing changed from the tax report, because those will come in the envelopes at the beginning of next week, so it's exactly the same as last month. I do have the updated status of the SB9. We still haven't received our audited cash balance. I'm like, I did receive, I just haven't got to it. It's marked unread in my folder. So, yeah, so once I get all of that taken care of, hopefully by next month, we'll have an audited cash balance from all the funds.
Okay.
But like the status of the bond building as well is sitting at 23 million, and then the cash balance for SB9 is at close to $1 million, but a budget of 25. Their next pages are the fund balances. And then bank statements, if you have any questions on that, oh, and the cash sweep of what we're retaining, what we're receiving, every month. So it's about 512,000 on the cash sweep that we're receiving, and then it's divided into all of those funds.
I have a real quick question on the fund balances. There was a big variance on operational. Is that just because of the end of the year?
It's all of the payroll stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, when we have to, all the liabilities, insurance and all that, so it just depends on the date that I run the report, so you'll see the variance, because most of the time they're already posted or they're cleared,
Okay.
or she hasn't run it or something, so it will vary, but it's all the liabilities.
Perfect. Thank you. I just wondered.
Yeah, that one right there is priority, the first payroll that we've already ran, because I ran the report on 132,
Oh, right.
so it's gonna be the first payroll. And that's all I have. If I have any questions on that. And I do apologize for not getting in your packet, kind of just had a lot of deadlines last week.
That's okay. Was there a discussion let's see. Oh, never mind. Do you just want to, talk about seed as well, investment opportunities, or?
Okay.
Because you're gonna have that discussion, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, so if we wanna look at the, fund balances, and so we know that the reason why we have the cash sweep is because we're only insured for the 250,000, and so, that's why we did the cash sweep, so we're in compliance, and so if that money, if something were to happen to Wells Fargo Bank, we still have that money in the market, and so it'll come back to us, it won't be just completely lost. So that's why we did the cash sweep. However, we do have, as you can see in the statements, like over 136 million in one bank account. So, we'd like to consider other investment opportunities for that. One of the main things is treasury bonds, US treasuries, and that's what we're looking at, and those are fixed rates. And so right now, the interest rates are pretty decent and high, about 4 to 5%. And so I know there's been a lot of talk of, with the new presidency, those rates will probably go down. So in the cash sweep, they're variable interest rates. With the money market or treasury bonds, those will be fixed rates. And so we'll keep those for however long we wanna, for whenever the bond matures. So you can do 6 months up to 2 years, and then you can just rotate them in. You can put them all in one.
Instead of a cash sweep,
I'm sorry?
would you do that every month instead of a cash?
So it'll be a whole different, like the bank account, so that's what I was asking to look at the fund balances. So one of the bigger funds, like I was considering $10 million that we could start to put in, and it would probably come out from the local revenue. I don't wanna get like small amounts from all these different funds because it'll be hard to track. And so your bigger funds would be local revenue, and if you guys wanted to invest more than 10 million, then we can look at SB9 or the EdTech notes, because those have huge, cash balances on them. So that's one way to get some of that money out of Wells Fargo and put into a different bank to start earning interest on. We did talk to UBS. And I know some of you guys are familiar with them. They can do, everything. The only thing that and then I also talked to Morton. So Morton is involved in a lot of school finances. UBS is not. They don't have any school finance record or references to check. Morton does, they do several of them, but it's, again, I can have them come up here and do, both companies or whatever to, present to you guys what options they have available for us.
So that's so there's the Morton, and then there is UBS, which is the guy that does the Woolworth investing. Well, he's been doing that for 10 years now, and we even went from someone else and put everything with him. We had about half and half with Wells Fargo and UBS. We decided that we wanted it all with him after we had dealt with him several years, because he's done really good for Woolworth. In fact, the golf course, the expansion we're looking at, all that stuff would not really be possible if we didn't have a good money person with our investments at Woolworth. And he's done a really good job with that. The thing with Moreton is they have school experience, therefore it's easy for Nicole to get a precedence on what to do, because we don't want to just start writing big checks with that, we could be violating some kind of law and they'll lead me and Nicole off in handcuffs. What I'm saying, we want to make sure we do it correctly. There is a precedence with Moreton. However, with Clarence Hughes, I can call him and he's going to let us know if something's going awry or he doesn't recommend the bonds anymore. That's my only kind of conflict there, is that with him, I know who to call, but the other people, I don't. But that doesn't mean that they do the same thing. It's gonna be federal treasury bonds no matter which way we go, no matter who it is. See what I'm saying? So that's where I don't know either, and I was gonna ask you guys what you thought about it.
I think you better be safe,
Mm-hmm.
as safe as possible.
Yes, that's, and you guys are actually the fiduciary. I mean, just saying, you know.
Would you guys be interested in talking to them?
Would you like to talk to both of them and we'll just bring them both in for a presentation?
I mean, the only thing I'm familiar with, I am familiar with UBS and Clarence.
So I don't know anything about any of them. I would defer to the professional
Right.
who knows the ins and outs of it. Do you have a preference?
I do Moreton, just because
because
of their
they're school,
experience,
yeah.
yeah, they have several, they work with a lot of universities and regular schools, including Lee County, Eddy County, Luna County, they work with all the counties as well. So, they are, you know, from Utah, they're not a Swedish company either. You can tell that's my preference, Mr. Snyder is
What's wrong with
just
Swedish
because
people, Nicole?
he has a lot of things, like, you think of those kind of banks and you're like, oh, you're a little sketchy, but you know what I mean? And so I just, you know, like to have the opportunity for them to come out, if they were more than willing to do that.
So Mr. Schneider, does that make you nervous or uncomfortable?
It does, because it's such a large amount of money that I am the CEO of the district, no one else. I'm just saying, it makes me very uncomfortable with other
But what
people's
have you
money.
done,
So-
You guys are the decision maker on the
So on the,
finances.
according to the finances, he is like, yes, indeed, but my name is on all of this stuff. And so that's why I'm telling you,
Yes,
I would have of course, he would have also access to all of that stuff as well, but I would be the one more on a one-on-one. He's the one-on-one on Woolworth Library because that's his job there.
Right.
And then mine is the finances here, it's like his is over there, so I would have more of the relation with him.
So.
I'm just
who-
more
who do you-
comfortable because of the references.
When you say
I-
that, who do you talk to? In other words, so I'm only comparing it to one thing, which is Woolworth, right?
Mhm.
We know exactly who to call, email, text, and we have responses.
Yeah.
In 2 minutes, literally.
Yeah, so I've
So
spoken
do
with,
you have that, is
Yes.
that, do we have a singular point of
we have
contact?
two, no, we have two. So Larry is the president and then Ryan is the vice president, and they've come several times and we've been in contact, I think for more over than a year, just because I was like, no, I didn't know what to do. And then, oh, we can only invest in local banks is what we were told, but they're the ones that sent me the loophole, like, hey, and they sent me the actual, the regulation and the licensing that was approved by PED, they're the ones that sent that to me. So they have done their homework.
Sure.
They do know the ins and outs, and obviously from the references of what the company, the schools that they're using.
What do they support? Schools.
Eunice, Deming, Nimi, Artesia, Aztec, Central Schools,
So a
Bloomfield,
lot of schools.
Gala, Grass.
the ones that have money, because there's so many that don't, they don't to invest,
Yeah.
honestly. There's just a handful.
Pretty good reference.
And so,
Mhm.
well, that's the thing, so I was talking to Nicole, and we were discussing it, and we said, you know what? Let's just take it to the board. The fiduciary is the board on all the money. However, I still don't want to be responsible. I still would like someone that I can contact just in case.
Why can't you have conversations with the same person?
We
No,
can.
You can, just, yeah.
I think it's a really good idea, at least to have them who talk to us. I mean,
Sure.
it's not like we have to decide like this.
It's not gonna, right.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm not a subject matter expert in this at all.
Yeah, and they actually sent me a presentation and I just told them, well, first it's can we invest? And then we'll go forward as to coming, you know, did they come down and do a presentation?
And Wells Fargo with the cash sweep is protected while it's being swept, but for right now, but we're kind of looking at a different administration, politics, all kinds of stuff going on right now, where we think
Yeah, it's
the
definitely
long-term
too much money
solution
at
is
one
we
account.
really need to look at that.
There's that's way too
Yes.
much liability, in one-
Exactly.
too many assets in one account.
And so if you guys wouldn't mind, we can invite them both and let them duel, no, let them do our initial presentation and then decide on.
So really, that is just, there's really no competition as far as like the money, like they don't, both companies don't charge on their fees and holding the money, it's just they are the advisory.
Right.
It's just reference, like, what, I mean, you know, you guys have the personal experience or whatever with the other company and this one has.
Let's have them, if they're willing to, and UBS is willing to, let's just have them come in and just talk, tell us how they perceive things, what they suggest, and what their background is, and.
Is Clarence aware of Morton?
Yes.
Yes,
So he's aware that
yes, he does know
all
that.
these other districts.
Yeah, that's why I
and
asked him, like, well, what's.
stuff. And he's
what's
still
your-
ready to come to the table and talk about it?
I mean, I have no preference one way or the other, it's up to you guys.
Well,
I mean, I definitely like the fact that they have all those districts backing them, or that they have dealt with all of those districts.
And there's.
And I really don't know what kind of questions we would ask outside of what they would present to us, except for availability. You know, how available are you for discussions and questions or concerns and things like that?
I guess if you set that groundwork ahead of the relationship, it's probably a good thing to do anyway. And then, there you go.
There's a lot of money just to go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Hopefully it'll still be there, yeah, we don't want to do that.
Okay, is that, we'll arrange that. Yes, sir. So we could just, we'll arrange for them to visit with us at the next meeting.
Okay.
That would be wonderful.
sounds good.
All right, let's bounce back up to the needed bill list. I do not see any. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Does anybody have any questions over the bills list? Or a motion to approve the bills list?
Okay.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Sorry.
That's all right.
All in
Say
favor?
it, yes.
You gotta do this.
You know what?
This is part of the world that defines us. Next time I'll just run over.
You know what?
All right, item number 6, old business, non-voting business, letter A, updates on our construction.
All right.
Okay, this is-
Yeah, you wanna start? I'm gonna show some pictures and you can fill in if
I'll
you need
see two here.
it. It's one of them, yeah, let's try scene 10. Let's see,
Slides.
yeah, it should be slides. There you go, right there. And then maybe maximize on the right, I think that one right there. Good. Maybe it's this. Here, I guess I'll need to play with it anyways, to change the slides.
This is the guy that wanted to fire IT when I got here. He's like, yeah, just don't need her, she got a little bit of. Yeah.
Oh, got the wrong, that's the wrong thing. There we go, well,
I'm not going to have trouble. Wonder if it's that over there on the maximize.
Right here?
Yeah.
Or is it that projector view right there?
Right here?
To the
Or right
right.
there on the bottom right, RJ. Right there.
Full screen.
Ah.
There we go.
Phone needs
Click
to-
that.
Well,
Now, let's see if I can,
Okay, the clinic has gone to electronic medical records now. Jim knows what he's doing.
we've got a lot to talk about, actually. So, obviously, I'm gonna jump through some of it, but I've got handouts today because we have so much to talk about. So one is the schedule, and then,
Kind of golf I can do.
I'm sorry?
I said
Mini golf is the finale, yeah, it's a Woolworth project, but one is the schedule and one is the priority list. So as I'm going through these projects, if you see something on the priority list that you think needs to move up or move down, here we can have that discussion as we go through these projects. Same thing if you have a question on the schedule and where things are supposed to be starting or stopping, we can discuss that as well. Right, guess it's gonna make me click up here. All right, so still working on the athletics site, and we're actually looking at changing some of it with the playground leveling. And so some of that work will be modifying and extending some of the athletics schedule on the north and west end, and I'll show some of that. Security vestibule, we're still at the mercy of the glass provider. It's not here. We thought it was going to be here a month ago, 2 months ago, and so it's hard to say when it's going to arrive. So we're still waiting on the vestibule. Luckily, that's not too huge of an impact. Baseball restroom edition should be done in May. Elementary edition, June. Junior high edition, end of this year. We'll talk about the oil and gas temporary lab. Hopefully let the bus barn and storage building go today. Indoor athletic facility, we're having some nice progress out there. Got a nice flat pad for it to be built on. And then the oil and gas auto tech BOAG edition is coming up, and something that we'll talk about maybe getting going on the
And that needs to be June, not August.
the temp lab.
Mhm.
The temp lab's going too far. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I guess it would open in August, but yes, it needs to be done in June. And John has said, Lasco has said that that's possible.
Yes.
And then in the horizon, which we kind of pushed off last time, was the gym team room locker addition at the current high school gymnasium. One thing I do want to talk about is that there was a little bit of a sliver of that project that was for the elementary playground. So I want to see if we want to move that back up the restrooms that serve the elementary playground while they're doing all that work. All right. All right. So, like I said, I passed out this priority list that has all these projects on it. So as we're going through it, if you see something, I have the priorities listed over here. If you see something that needs to move up, like we've been talking about the auditorium steps and regrading. It didn't seem like it's as high a priority as a lot of these other projects, but if y'all think differently, and because it's a lower amount, if you want to go ahead and move it up, we can. But that's just an example of something we can discuss. All right, so to start with the current projects, you've got the elementary starting to take shape. Obviously, you see it all the time, so that's nice to see. I've got some pictures of what you can't see. Well, we can also talk about the addition to the elementary playground. We've refined it a little bit. This is the current site plan. So this shows how there's trees right here. We've got a fence here, but this drops off pretty dramatically. This drops off pretty dramatically. And this is not really able to be used as a play surface. So what we've issued to LASCO now, which would be to raise all of this up to where this is essentially a flat area. This is where the trees are. So we'd be extending this another 50 feet to give them a flat play area that could either run a soccer game or a big football game this way or this way. So it would give you a lot more options for kicking the soccer ball or throwing a football in this area. And it extends it quite a bit into this courtyard. You'd also be adding another playground structure, which they said they desperately need with all the students that are out there. This is the current existing covered basketball courts. And then the question is do we want this new elementary restroom that was shown in the gym project? Do we want to move forward on that? Because we will be working with utilities and such. And so if we're going to artificially turf all of this, it might be nice to make sure we get the sewer and that's needed over here before you do this project. So what do y'all think about adding that? I think I showed that to be about $200,000 all in for those restrooms to be added to that project. So the elementary playground, we're showing at about 1.7. If you add the elementary or the restrooms to the gym, it'd be about 1.95 total instead of the 1.75.
And if we didn't do it now, we would have to, we'd have to tear up.
You'd have to tear up, or we'd have to say, let's wait on some of this artificial turf until we do it. Yeah. So,
Is there other restrooms besides those?
for the elementary school, right now they have to go up a long ramp or upstairs through the hallway by the cafeteria to the restrooms that are here. So when a teacher's out here trying to watch kids, they'd have to pretty well escort them.
They do.
They have to escort them 150 or 200 feet away deep into the building. So that's, right now, if they were able to go here, they'd be able to just monitor these doors here while they're still out in the playground monitoring everybody else. So that's why the request came. The request was originally, can we put a building out here? And so we're like, oh man, if we start building it, it's gonna be $500,000 or more to do a standalone building. But we have this extra mechanical room that had this sub-basement floor air handler that's no longer being used. We didn't remove it at the time because it was gonna be $50,000 to remove this big thing and infill the floor. But if we have something like this that kind of makes sense and it's actually less than building a new building, then it still makes sense to do the $50,000 to remove that equipment and fill in the floor.
Right. I think that's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
okay,
big
well,
is that building?
I'm sorry?
How big is that building?
This area here, it's actually larger than, and I can't remember if I still have that drawing. No, I didn't include the drawing, because we had an actual.
It's probably about half as big as this building. Probably about.
Yeah, well, that area is a little bigger than this room, I think.
Yeah.
It probably goes back to that wall before the offices start. So what we were looking at doing is actually adding storage to the gym on part of it, and then a girls and a boys restroom, or a teachers and kids restroom, or something like that. And there'd be a little lobby area with a drinking fountain. So it's large enough to have a little area with a drinking fountain, so if you're waiting on the restrooms, you could still be inside, and then 2 toilets and a storage closet. So you're really getting a lot more than just restrooms even. So yeah, it's a pretty decent area.
Yeah.
Sorry, last time I did have, you see, this is 32 feet here, so it's about 30 feet by maybe 15 wide. And yeah, so we're showing 200 because of the cost of removing that other mechanical equipment and filling in the floor.
I think we're all, is it our vision?
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay. All right, well, we'll add that to this project then, which will be in addition to the elementary. While they're finishing up that, they can do this and then do that project as well.
It'd also be easier for them to do the plumbing because the subgrade will already be done.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and some of the photos, and these are some of the older ones. I got your newer ones, but I didn't get it updated on presentation. Yeah, because right now, these concrete steps are actually in currently.
Yeah, I'm about to do an update to the public on that.
Yeah, good. All right, the other thing that we're looking at doing potentially is right now, the locker room that was added at the concession area is big enough for about a track team. It is not big enough for a visiting football team to get in there and go through a game plan or talk about what they need to do during halftime.
And that's
So-
a track team if only one of them ran good at a time.
Yeah, exactly. What each team could. So there was discussions about, well, could they use the indoor? Could they go in there and use the indoor and then just use that for restrooms? And said, yeah, but the indoor is not going to be done for a couple of years, and is that really the most ideal setup? So he said, well, let's look at expanding that locker room. And what's really needed is about double the size. So I'll zoom in here in a minute, but there was also discussion about adding a covered area right outside of the concession area that would protect from the elements and provide an area where you could have tables and chairs right outside of the concession, so that you could be watching the game or out grilling. Is that what you're?
We wanted a grilling.
We wanted to have a grilling area. Since you've got this nice concession area and restrooms, it'd be nice to have kind of a gathering area outside of it. So if we're gonna add this, let's look at that. And then also, we don't have any coaches' offices currently in this building, and we have, I believe, one in the new indoor building. So the request was, can we add a couple coaches' offices on this other side to really balance it out? Because right now it's symmetrical. And so we said, well, storage is always needed. Then we added all this storage to underneath the bleachers, and I think we have adequate storage now. But coaches' offices are really a premium that we're missing. So, and this,
And then custodial too.
yeah, custodial as well, yes.
I'm gonna have someone stationed there full time.
Right. And so we also added a locker room storage on this side of the addition. So not only would this be large enough for a full football team, you'd also have additional storage. Let me zoom in here. And so this is the zoomed in view. So right now the locker room is about this big. And you just come in and you can go in through here, but there's really enough space for about, I don't know, 15 people max. I don't know, with football pads on. So
It's tight.
yeah, five people your size. Yeah, 5 linemen, maybe 10 receivers, 5 linemen. Okay. So yeah, it's pretty tight. And so the thought is that we would expand it to be about as big as the little bigger than the current JV locker room, and maybe about the same size as the varsity locker room at the athletic or the gym. And then also add these 2 offices here on the west side. And then while we're doing that, it would be nice to have this covered canopy area. And to give you a 3D view of what that looks like. So this is what's currently built. This building here, this is the concession area with storage, and then this is the current restroom locker room. This would be the addition to that locker room, the canopy out front, and then the additional offices here. And then this would be your new entry to this new indoor athletic facility. So after we started kind of adding and playing with it, of course, Brian was like, oh, it looks even better, that's amazing. But I was like, well, we need to take it to the board. Sure.
So, just out of curiosity, does it make any sense to have the coaches' offices on the other side of the locker rooms? Because they're never gonna be in the offices away from their students on the other side, right?
It will be for,
It won't be coaches.
yeah, so that locker room will only be used by
Visitor.
the visitor football team.
Okay.
And.
So which coaches, I guess, yeah, would be.
Well, I'm saying which coaches would be in the,
It'd probably be an official room. Right.
okay.
For the
Yeah.
officials.
We have an official room.
Because the coaches go with the team, don't they?
Yeah.
The existing locker room now.
So what would be on the other side? I mean, I understand,
That is not really gonna be coaches' offices, but it's just gonna be, it's gonna be office area for custodian on one of those.
Okay.
And then possibly storage on the other one, because I just don't see coaches being headquartered there.
Yeah, and right now there's no windows on these
Yeah,
offices,
so-
so,
right,
yeah, it doesn't quite make
And
sense
there's no
as an
window.
office.
right, so it doesn't really matter what we call them,
Yeah,
but they're not really gonna be coaches' offices, just because I was thinking.
Yes.
I don't know,
Yeah.
started looking.
Yeah, I think at one point we were showing this as just one big open area, and then we said, well, we can lock it down and have two separate areas with a hallway.
So, and there's all kinds of control equipment that
Yeah.
we're gonna have with all this technology stuff.
Yeah.
It's always good to have it compartmentalized in different, like an office area where you can lock up all your control panels, all your computers, and we even have a computer that runs the consent.
And the thought was that this would be added to the indoor scope, so we would get Lasco to price it out. We're estimating maybe $750,000 to $900,000 to add this, but we would actually get a solid price from Lasco and then bring it back, if y'all are okay to look at having them price this.
Sounds like a need.
But we can get a pricey one to go from there, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's things.
Lasco's been real cheap lately.
Yeah, came in.
Okay, on another budget.
I didn't get a raise.
All right, so the thing we received bids, received one bid from Lasco for the storage building and for the bus barn. We put it out to all the same people that, we put it out for the indoor last time, and they were the only ones that asked questions and bid on it. So it's always advertised in all the papers across New Mexico and West Texas, and published on the job boards. But just a reminder, across from the admin here, we're looking at adding a storage building and then an asphalt parking lot right across the street here in that empty lot. And so I know there was discussion about whether that needs to remain open for a laydown, but really the asphalt parking lot would be the last thing that they would do. So building the storage building over here on the west side is still not going to take up a majority of that site. So I think they would still be able to use this for laydown, and if we needed to delay the parking lot a little longer, if they need it. What do you
Honestly,
think?
RJ, I don't think with the stuff that I'm getting in,
Mhm.
steel, the big items, that's not a feasible.
It's too far away anyways.
It'd be too hard to get the steel
Yeah.
components around there, so I'd say you could.
Okay. All right, so there's no need to delay, I guess, the storage building any longer.
And then maybe we'll also apply for LCRF funding from the state.
It's a pretty basic building, but should still match the rest of your campus with the brick wainscot and the stucco. And the original, of course, it's blocking. The original total budget was 1.75 million, with a construction cost of 1.378 estimated latest year. The bid from Lasco, I know we've been saying that they came in under, their prices have been good, but this one was a little bit over. It was, it came in at 1.3796, so it was about 17,000 over the budget. And we had,
Yeah, right.
yeah, we had 195,000 in contingency, so we took that down to 174. So that would keep the the storage building budget at 1.75 with just a little less contingency, if y'all want to accept that bid from Lasco for the storage building.
And we may get the allotment from the state.
Yeah, the LCRF on the development.
Yeah,
So that
yeah.
would be said, what, 75% of that 498, right?
The parking lot, we were showing 498, yeah, it would be 75%. Yeah, so we just recently got refunded
For the girls softball.
for the girls softball, and it was over 200,000, is that correct? So-
17 something.
Right. So yeah, there's still the possibility that you'll do this and get the LCRF still.
And that 270.
Yeah, could go towards
Taking
that.
that out.
Yeah, exactly. So at the next project that was bid was the bus barn project. So you can see this is the existing bay and offices with the existing cover area, the existing bus storage, and then this is the large addition with the service bays and the wash bay. And then just making sure that everything is concrete or asphalt out here, majority concrete, really. And I think I've got a picture of that showing this addition here in the existing buildings. This is all just a refresher. And so this is where they did come in quite a bit lower. Estimated total construction cost was 6.7 and they came in at 5.8. So it's considerably lower, which was great to see. Difference of about 925,000 in construction costs. Currently, I did the same thing and just added that to the contingency, but that's quite a bit of contingency for them. So there's opportunity probably to pull that onto another project or reduce it if you want, or leave it there for 6 months of construction and see what happens. It's kind of up to y'all. The next thing I did want to talk about is kind of connected to that project, because there is the need to look at the oil and gas program, and that all came up when we started talking about the addition to the vocational building. And it was mentioned that there's a metal building out there already across the street from the vocational building that's not really being used and could potentially serve as a temporary oil and gas lab to get the program started while there are 2.5 years of us building onto the vocational building happened. And so,
And it is being used, but it's buses that are gonna go over into that new addition.
Right.
We won't need it.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we can still put the buses somewhere else until.
correct. So we looked at how that space could be used as a classroom lab space. And this is that metal building split up into an 800 square foot classroom, a 1,200 square foot lab space with adding restrooms and storage. And so we asked LASCO for an estimate and if it's even feasible to have it done by June. And they said if they could get it added on to a project and they could get the trigger pulled on it immediately, that they thought that they could have it insulated, framed, conditioned, and the restrooms up and running by June 2025. And so, yes, extremely fast, obviously pending getting approval tonight to add this to the Bus Barn project. And the reason that we're thinking about adding it to the Bus Barn project, besides that the Bus Barn project came in low, is the fact that this is the metal building here, and then this is the Bus Barn project. And the majority of this, there's a lot of metal building work already being done on this project, and interior finish outs and renovations. So it kind of makes sense while you're doing this project to get this project done at the same time and add it to their contract. And so they said that the $225,000 budget that we established, they thought that they could get it done for that. Obviously, we're gonna give them a finalized drawing showing mechanical, electrical, plumbing, and all that, and then they're gonna price that. But they said they could actually go ahead and get started on some of the insulation and trying to run some of the plumbing and the things that they know for sure have to happen while they're even pricing that. If y'all are okay with them trying to hit that June, where when June hits, y'all would be able to start outfitting and moving in, where when August hits, you could actually have a oil and gas program started.
What about our equipment?
It's on the way.
Yeah.
It'll be here by April or something.
Oh, okay.
It's already-
Yeah, so it might be yeah.
Where would we put the buses?
Oh, by my driveway. I really, it was like, okay, well, we may not have the buses to set out, so we're not gonna start the oil and gas. So it's kind of like a triage thing, where I thought it'd still be good to get the oil and gas started and even put the buses on the lot that's already been cleared to the house. You know, we can even put them on that empty lot right there, just until, they start, right, we'll just shuffle them around. And then there's still a lot of room in that courtyard where the buses used to sit. Casey can rearrange some stuff, and between that and the lot next door, we can get everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a bit, this covered area has a lot of stuff stored in it.
There was buses in there before.
Yeah, there's things that could be pulled out of there, I
Yes,
think.
that's what we'll just
They can
reorganize.
still be covered in here.
So Mr. Tolliver won't want to strangle us. That's fine.
Oh, if we give him enough notice, he'll probably be all right, because he can start moving stuff out to the baseball park.
So the thought is that this, I mean, it's temporary, but it's 2 years. So it would allow them for 2 years to be able to get the program established. Then once the vocational building addition is done, they'll have a well-established program that they can move over into a more contemporary.
And so the buses would just be rearranged for like 6 months.
Yeah, and then we can get, last time we put a caliche pad out there, you know, on the side.
Yeah, really, it'd be from June until December.
Yeah, until that bus barn is
I don't think that's.
And the bus barn should go up pretty quick. It's a pretty straightforward project, pretty simple.
You guys.
I like it.
Oh,
Thank
okay, so we'll get them going on that, and then this is the other action item that was just approving our architectural services. Right now, we kind of got blocks showing where the spaces could be, but we really haven't designed what it'll look like from the outside and how the site will work and how feasible the pickleball courts and everything will be in this area. So the next item was just getting us going on the design work for adding on. This is the current metal shop, wood shop, current garage here, but it would be adding 2 bays, 2 legitimate bays, because right now the current garage isn't quite the right size. You'd want to be able to work on a car. Having a classroom next to it, which is really required for these labs. Same thing for the oil and gas lab. You get quite a bigger oil and gas lab that would be built for it. Oil and gas classroom, and then additional restrooms and entry area for that building. And then the nice thing is you'd be able to put a whole new face on this building as well, and be able to tie into the rest of your campus. Let's see, I think I might have one more slide on that. So the all-in cost that we're looking at here is about 8.6 million. It would be about, I think under 600,000 to get it going. And then y'all decide when we put it out on the market. I know if you look at your list, there's 28 million, I think, worth of projects. If you pull out the gymnasium, team room addition, and the auditorium steps, that's about 4.7 million. So you'd be at about 24 million all in for all projects. And Nicole was just saying that y'all have about 25 sitting in the bank
You heard that,
available.
didn't you?
Well, no, I talked to her about it. I was whispering back and forth. And so, yeah. So she said there's about 25 that is not encumbered that could cover all of those projects without even having additional, once the audit is complete, without having to rely on the additional funds that will grow over the next 2 years of these things under construction. So she said no more projects, but she felt pretty comfortable with 7 and above.
Also, those are also paced monthly, so basically if things go off or we know what's gonna happen, you'll be the first to know, even if you approve this or not, that don't mean you've approved things we don't have money for. Because we still have to be responsible with the money, let y'all know that we're short, or what I'm saying is it just because you approve it doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean whether you have it or not, yeah.
And this would still even give you, I mean, just moving forward on the design and having it ready to put out, that would still give you over 7 million kind of additional funds that if you put it on hold, you would still have those funds, not to mention what you're gonna be collecting over the coming months. I think that was it for the oil gas CTEC edition. Yeah. Any questions on all that before I get on Woolworth video?
Does anybody have any concerns about moving someone or starting at least the design phase? Obviously approving the oil and gas shop.
I think we need to get on it.
Yeah, pretty much everything that he's put forward at this point.
Yes, sir.
Perfect. All right, now even more fun with the Woolworth mini golf.
And this is
thought-
my golf.
Yeah.
For me,
When Brian,
do this one.
for me,
you never know what's a dream and a reality when Brian calls and talks about a project. This one seems like it's becoming more and more of a reality.
So with Woolworth, last month, they tasked me with going around to the different boards, and you guys are one of them. And it's not a conflict because I don't vote on this board, so I can talk to you all one about it. And so what it is the miniature golf, we had 3 different plans that they came up with. So we were looking at spending about $1 to $2 million. It was a very wide, $1 to $2 million on the facility. Well, they came in, of course, RJ was way out of his element and came in with like 6 to 7 million. And so the facility kind of grew into this multi-use everything with bowling alley and golf course, 18-hole, and meeting rooms.
That's
RJ. And
That's-
project didn't work.
I brought him a $2 million option. And I said, this is in budget. And he said, that's boring. I said, you can just have the mini golf and you can't have as many waterfalls and mountains.
I wasn't at last meeting, but I know we didn't talk about bowling alley.
No oil derrick or anything. And anyway, so what it would basically be is, does the community want to pitch in from these different things? So I've talked to Maddox Foundation and Lee County as well.
Where would this be?
This would be right there on your picture.
So the light building out there is actually the clubhouse.
Yeah, so
Oh,
that's
it's
golf
country
course.
club.
Yes.
Country club building, and this is where they park right now. And this is the golf course.
Oh.
And this is the spot behind the building is Caliche right now.
Okay.
Maybe, so one of the features so Brian did all his research and sent us a bunch of companies that do some of these. You can see this one is actually indoor here. And so there's some of this inspiration is from outdoor, but they actually do pretty custom stuff. So you could have an oil derrick in there, and you could have some features that relate more to jowl. But there's a lot of opportunity once we start getting into the design of it all. But the thought was that it would be probably 9 holes that were more fun and geared towards kids, and possibly 9 holes that are more geared towards golfers. In an ideal world, there'd be an indoor and an outdoor, where one's all about the kids and one's more about the golfers that are kind of more.
This all happened.
Don't we have like a little golf course?
We have it,
already?
but it's not a putt. You missed the logic.
And so I had some.
He really did.
I had some help. I had Eric Dallas to do research.
Yeah, he really did ask about, this is a mini bowling alley, so these come, they're packages of 2. They're not full size, they're about half, but you still get the full bowling experience. And so
What was this one?
a $2 million indoor mini golf course does not have a bowling alley.
Right.
So I've got a version, I'll go ahead and, I might as well pass out the version. This is the version that does not have
Now vote for
the bowling alley, in which this version is still a $4 million version, because it does still have some extra spaces at the front.
So this was the version that.
Why would we want a HRC space?
So,
Well.
so the sitting space is kind of a lobby, yeah. So that's a lobby area for people that want to just sit down and have drinks or eat while their kids are putt-putting. That's what that sitting space is.
So option 2 is the womp one.
So
let me go back to
let me tell you a little bit about some background here, because I don't know if Mr. Snyder's gonna get there. So the background is that I'm on Woolworth board, obviously, so I will recuse myself from the vote. But that being said, the thought was to build a miniature golf course for the community. Indoor, with the concession, place to sit, parents can watch their kids play, not the kids watch the parents, the other way around. Those types of things, have it not connected to, but associated with the golf course, or same property, I should say. And then, have a seating area outside and restrooms and so on and so forth. The indoor piece would be nice, like the project was showing. But obviously, I wasn't at the last meeting, so it expanded and more we were at the last meeting for sure. But that was the whole where it began. It was just something for the
Yes,
community, for something for the.
And expansion comes where, why not have all those folks in the community help with it and make it a bigger thing than just the Woolworth only funding it, and it'd be much smaller.
Alright, let me ask you this, how much are you asking us for?
That's up to you and your generosity.
Well, how do we, let me ask
What is
this.
it gonna cost?
But it would
How do
cost-
we fit it in based on, so, I'm sorry, I got something stuck in my throat. How do we justify it
Okay,
being
so,
an education?
that was my next thing. So, golf, we do have a golf team. We have seven interested in it, eight so far, so we do have a golf
As
team.
of this year.
Yes. Also, we have a first tee program, I'm meeting with them this week. The first tee program I've been wanting to do now for 2 or 3 years. We actually have a meeting with them, they're coming down, they're excited about it. It comes down as far as Eunice and stops. The kids, I've talked to several in Hobbs, former superintendent's grandkids, the outreach person with Excel Energy, his wife is big time in it, all of his kids, they said it's just a phenomenal program for mental things, not just golf. And first tee starts at 3rd grade, goes all the way up to 12th grade. However, what we want to do is insert it into, I've talked to Ms. Komar, we're going to put it into the elementary PE program. So our programs directly relate to an indoor golf facility because we need it. I mean, if we're going to do it, we're going to expand our first tee, we're going to have a full-on high school golf team.
With
It's
waterfalls?
miniature golf it's just not miniature golf, it's actually practicing your short game. It's called a short game.
I know what it is. I'm just listening to you try to quote me.
Just don't tell anybody.
Short game, and we also are gonna use it for, so First Tee also has little like programs that they have where they come, other schools come to our school and they do programs. It can be done in a gym. It can be done in a gym, but something like this would
Are
be.
you thinking it's like a JPYS thing?
It's similar, but JPYS doesn't have anything like that.
Right.
It's more
I'm
of a
saying it's
better-
like
it's a
geared
kids'
for
program.
And you don't have to
kids
go
off.
for kids.
Yeah.
You said we had 7 kids signed up?
Yes, 8.
And there's not more because it's not up there yet.
Because it's
Once it gets going,
And the problem too is that we don't have a youth program like to get going in the young ages, but we can do that. And the reason why I say elementary PE is because First Tee is a lot of character building. It's not just golf. It's character building for all.
So what would that look like when you say for PE? They're not gonna take the
No.
elementary kids.
No, but if they have events or something out there with the kids, then they'll have tournaments and stuff out there for elementary age kids. And so that's where we are. We could be directly involved.
I've been at First Tee events.
Yeah.
Yes,
And you have
and we can do our own. And there's,
kids.
Right.
and I told them about the possibility of and they couldn't believe it. They were like, we could bring them all down from Lee County into that facility because they don't have anything like it anywhere else in Lee County. And so that's why I was saying this school would be directly involved in it. Not as far as running it or anything, but as far as our kids using it, absolutely. And our golf coach, I asked them, the golf coach said, it would be great to have somewhere to practice and putt and do all that whenever we don't have. And we would have simulators in our new thing there.
We get a card to win there, man.
And so like the core program, they did the same thing in Hobbs, and the core program is a swimming pool. And so it's got a lot of things other than swimming pool, it's got racquetball, several things. The school in Hobbs was able to do it as well because of their programs, so that was the same. I would make sure that it's something that's not out of our wheelhouse to, but make sure that's something we.
Yeah, and I don't know that you have an initial ask either. I mean, this was just started last month that y'all the Woolworth board saw it and said, let's go see what we can raise, because really just indoor mini golf could happen with the 2 million that y'all were thinking about using. It's just the additional sitting space and the lounge and the bowling and the game area. Some of the game we're looking at incorporating just kind of some active games. They have push button games where you can get cardio in, or just some of the football and basketball games are still kind of athletic.
So
like the old time putt-putt where it had arcade games, it had
Yes.
skee ball,
Yes,
had all that
yes,
stuff.
yeah.
That, I like that idea.
And so we're looking at 5 to 6 million total would be the Dream Cadillac one. And then the 2 million is the boring.
Yeah, so I mean, you can chop off, 500,000, you don't have your small bowling lanes, or another 500,000, you don't have your game rooms. So if someone steps up and a oil field company or PSP or somebody says, we wanna fund this portion of it, then you can add that on. Or the school district wants to fund a portion of that.
And then what the school district would say, well, our wheelhouse is just the golf park, and it's about 2 million for just the golf park. A portion of that is what the school could do. It just depends on how the school.
Yeah, so this option kind
If
of
they're
takes
interested, school may
takes
not
all
be
that out.
Okay.
And I'm coming at you from a Woolworth perspective, but I do know the school could contribute to it from the school perspective.
You do know that?
Yeah.
So where would that fit into the rest of so if we were just talking about Nicole has us at
Mhm.
25 million, RJ has us at 25 million, where does that come in? Like, where does that money come from?
From the same SB9, it would have to come from that, so it would still be SB9.
SB9 money?
Mhm. And we might
Take
say.
a couple of months, January,
And
February.
we could also say, yeah, we
Right.
could almost kind of even say, what's the technology part of that? And we've got that.
Well, that's kind of what I was
Yeah.
thinking, ed tech money.
Yes.
You could fund the sort of interactive.
And so this is just like preliminary, I really don't know, I really don't have an actual dollar amount, but I think would be what the board decides. I mean, if the board says, we're 500,000 and then just whatever, and it's nonprofit to nonprofit, we can do an MOU with that, whatever it is, it doesn't matter if it's $1 million, whatever. It doesn't
So today, are you just asking us to think about it, or are you asking us to?
Basically, not a number, we'll give this much or that much, but,
It's not, this is
Move
just a
forward
discussion. If you guys are interested in having the discussions as a board, we can move forward.
Yes.
I am too.
Yeah.
All right, anything else on any of the
Can
other?
we put a roller skating rink too?
Yeah.
Let me think on
Well, I just mean into a period,
Anything else?
It kind of evolved, they were in the rollers, and then they were like, well, I'm not into it.
You're a hard act to follow.
And we can play part of the tournament.
Birthday party.
Part of the rest of the rest of the half the tournament's on the course and half of it is off.
It's kind of like a no-brainer to most of them.
Event space.
As long as,
But you gotta be over 5 foot to get in.
I think the, if we can justify that.
You know what, I don't really think you.
To make sure that is something we can fund, because we definitely don't wanna overstretch
Yeah.
and get in trouble for.
And I did speak to Hobbs, TJ, was on it, kind of answered that whole core.
Yeah.
And he said, if you can tie it into one of your athletic.
But did the school district put in the court?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they did? Really?
Because it's their swimming pool now. They closed their swimming pool, filled it in, and they did another gym, and then, pitched in on that court.
Shoot, both of our high schools said, so.
Millions. I don't know why they didn't, their high school is so old, but yeah.
Right.
Their seat deck is nice.
All right, is there anything?
I can give you progress report.
Perfect, that'd be wonderful.
I'll start with baseball. We've got a partial slab scheduled for Thursday. I'm trying to get this done for the holidays with weather and inspector basically vacated, couldn't find. And the reason we're pouring it, that's a small floor, but the reason I'm pouring it in sections is because it's got multiple floor drains in it. It doesn't have any floor covering on it, and I want them to be graded and sloped really nice. So wherever the floor drains, we're gonna pour those sections individually, break the walls under the floors, so we can get a really nice pour on the drains. So I've got one scheduled for Thursday, and then we'll have one scheduled for next week, weather permitting. So
that's baseball. We have the septic and the leach fields in there, they've been put in. I don't know if that was reported at the last meeting, but that has been done. So on athletics, on the new indoor, I've had the dirt work completed and I had square root engineering out, and we've got a little bit of discrepancy when they started using their GPS location to Park Hills, and I've got an RFI in on it. They wanted me to go ahead and give them a verbal to move it. I didn't want that liability and responsibility. There's a lot of piers under there, and I would rather somebody else have eyes on it as well as me. But basically, we've got about a 2-foot discrepancy. In other words, you have a little 2-foot alley in between the building. It needs to be shoved that way, but just to keep everything in sync, I want to.
Yeah, we'll officially answer it.
Yeah, you know, he said, well, all you need to do is just tell me to do this. I said,
Nah.
So that's where we're at on that. I'm waiting for communication between Park Hill and Square Root to get the GPS coordinates correct, and then we'll proceed with that. So let's see. Press box, we had some exterior frames that were on back order. These frames come from North New Mexico, and they shut the production down over Christmas. I just received the frames last Friday. So we've got the frames, I'm gonna have them installed tomorrow. We've already started the exterior skin. You can see the sheeting that's going on the back. That's the reason it hasn't been completed. They're waiting for the 4-door frames. So that is underway. And I don't know if you're aware of it, but we put the roof drains down and ran them down the side of the columns where the electricals were feeding. And Derek was down here last. I told him we need to do something to dress this up because it looks unfinished. I have a lot of blue cinder block left. So we decided, Derek thought it'd be nice if we just put some brick columns. It'll encapsulate the red iron columns over there. You won't see any red iron at all.
Yeah, that'll be good.
So we're gonna put some brick columns up there, and it'll hide all the electrical and plumbing that's coming down the top. So let's see. Exterior pathway lights, I've got the ones that we've had you thought they're gonna be too tall. I've got it Smith, or not Smith, but Square Root coming out tomorrow to lay those out, and we're underway with those. We're gonna have the drill, and we'll start there. Your can't read all right. I don't have my glasses. We've got the pole. I got the power disconnected from that today. Thank you. Between me and pushing Exo Energy, they came and got the pole disconnected. So we're gonna pull that pole tomorrow, and we'll start that footing and get our stem wall on the north end of the field.
Yeah, it's like 7 years in the making, so.
We've been trying to get rid
That was part of Blasco's first project.
And in doing so, when we removed that secondary pole, Exo Energy has a problem with the guy wire. I don't know if it's
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
But I spoke with their guy today, and we didn't have to take the pole that are running across the parking lot and put them underground, because they need a guy wire. That's on the end of the line. We don't have the room to put the guy wire. It will be coming back towards the field. It'll look really nasty. Yeah. So that's something in the works with Exo Energy to see if we can remove those poles completely and put them underground. So that's been going on. Elementary, interior framing is 99% complete. We had a few door frames show up, wrong thickness, wrong swings. I'm having them correct those. So it shouldn't take too long. G&G Roofing was supposed to meet with me today and they're starting to bring materials in. They didn't show up, so I'm not real concerned about them. They're pretty reputable, and they'll probably be here tomorrow. They just starting out with, after the holidays, they're probably like everybody else in trying. So with that being said, that's on the elementary. We've got that hallway. They'll probably heard the noise, or we tried to do most of our demo over the holiday, but we've got that busted out. I'll give you field dimensions on that. So Glencoe, we lacked a little bit of steel in front of the building. That's why you'll notice the front of the building hasn't been completed. It ties directly into that corridor, which we're going to elevate, make it a 2-story. They couldn't build that steel till I gave them some. They needed to know if there's some exterior footings below slab. We busted it down. I found them. I've got elevations. I'm going to give them field dimensions on that tomorrow, and they're going to expedite the rest of that steel so we can get that in and get that like that. Square Root is also going to be marking both alleyways for the elevations. He asked if he could get green lighted on it. I said, absolutely, let's keep moving. We've had enough delays. So they're gonna also be shooting grades and stuff in your alley as well as the other side. And so that they'll have our stuff ready. Junior high, the majority of the concrete below grade, which I know it looked like nothing going on over there, but it really looked like an animal for a long time. Workers in there, most of the subgrade concrete is done, there's a small portion. I have a scheduled pour for Friday, a fairly good sized slab. We had 2 loads of steel coming in, I have 2 more this week that probably would be all the steel, so as soon as we get the forward poured, we're gonna erect some of the steel because it's beforehand, because it requires to be in before they pour the slab, some of it needs to be. But I'll have 2 more loads of steel coming in tomorrow, and I think that might be the completion of the steel. As soon as we get those sections poured, we will start erecting steel on the junior high. Yeah, it's been a while coming. So that is pretty much my progress report. Do you have any questions?
On the vestibule glass, why they run so far behind it, giving you a reason?
Yes, glass companies are hard to find. They're like masons. Cruz Glass is out of Carlsbad. I've worked with Jack for years. He's, Artesia Glass went out, the one in Roswell went out. He's got 4 employees and he's trying to cover Roswell, Artesia, Hobbs, Leventon, and here. And Jack's 71 years old and he needs to slow down. He needs to quit taking on so much work. You know, when everybody's jumping up and down needing glass and frames, it's hard to tell them no.
It's not time sensitive, I was just wondering why it was.
It is to me because it's starting to hold some of the projects up.
Oh, I see.
And I spoke with him this morning, he's got material ordered, the aluminum frames, the glass, his submittals are lacking, and
What about the elementary?
that's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
And this one, he was supposed to have that, I don't know where he is with it. As soon as he gets that in, we've got a little bit of stuff with the paint out here, and we can tidy this one up, put a bow on, and give it to him. That's the holdup on 2 of these projects is the glass, and John has been looking at trying to find another glass supplier, maybe out of Midland, Odessa or Lubbock, because he is just, I mean, he's doing all he can, but he's gaining no traction. The guy's a great guy, I've known him 35 years, but if he can't produce, then we have to change horses.
That was all I had, one question I had. Any questions? No, sir. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, well, I got an hour and a half ride home.
Action item?
You might just.
Yeah, sure.
Move ahead.
All right, so have a good evening.
Thank you, sir, you too. All right, so, number 7 is new business. It's approval of Lasco Construction as a general contractor for the bus barn and storage facility. Do you have any questions or concerns about Lasco? Anyone that should do that job? No, sir. No? So if that's the case, we'll just need a motion to approve them as our contractor. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? And then, of course, letter B is just to allow Mr. Snyder to negotiate architectural services, excuse me, with Parkville through CDS for the CTEC expansion. It's just the design, like just this part. Or another
Are there any
page.
roller coasters added or?
No bowling.
Full-size bowling lanes.
We're holding you responsible first.
Yeah, okay. I'll make sure everybody knows. It's not a vocation.
Anybody have any questions about that? If not, we need a motion to allow Mr. Snyder to continue that negotiation.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. I think that would be it for you, right?
All right.
Is that the only action?
Yeah, no, that's
tonight?
all we need, everything else is on this other project, so.
Just to move
All
forward.
right,
Thank
good
you.
to see you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, letter C is, we're gonna discuss our athletic participation policy. Mr. Satterwhite. Mr. Snyder.
Yeah, so Mr. Snyder, next month, was gonna actually come up with something, and he was also gonna check with all the local, districts, the and just kind of see what their policies are, and go from.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. This is the one I mentioned that Loving has intact. I talked to Texaco and Eunice, their policy is like ours is currently. In Tatum, you just can't play the next sport. But then Loving's the one I like the most, out of the ones that I've gathered so far. And so I thought I might go ahead and give you that. It's kind of hard to read that. It was a little tiny print, and I blew it up and copied it all off, and it's kind of hard, kind of gotta look at some of it, but basically there are consequences for quitting when it comes to the next sport. You gotta sit out a game or 2 or 3 or 4, based on the sport that you quit. And it even covers, say, kids competing in 2 sports in the spring, and they wanna quit one, well, they have to miss a competition from the other one if they do that. So it encourages them not to do that as well. And the thing I think that's important about how we do this is that we discourage kids from quitting, but we're also understanding that life happens and things go on, but we want to really discourage them from doing that and teach them how to get through things that are difficult, because there's always going to be times, say a kid's mad at me and he wants to quit football, and then 2 weeks later I'm his best friend. He loves me because he realizes now that it was good.
Right.
Just like a parent when you discipline a kid, and they just hate your guts for a little bit, but then they realize that, yeah, it might have been a good deal. Those kids had a wreck, and you didn't let them go with it, things like that happen. So, we just want to encourage our kids to, if they're going to sign up, participate. The other thing that this one does is there's a 10-day window from the day that sport starts. And if you decide you don't want to play during that 10-day slot, then that's okay. It's not going to count against you. And I like that too, because kids could come out and, if they just, man, I just can't handle this, or I'm allergic to the grass or the turf or whatever, and I just, then that's okay. And so I think there's some flexibility in that, but I think there's also some teeth in, you quit with 5 games of football left, and you have to give up X number of basketball games when basketball season rolls around. There's one other thing in there that I think we need to look at, and that is, what do we do with those kids if they do quit? Because we have athletic periods, and so we gotta have somebody responsible for those kids. And do we let them go ahead and go to the off season with that other sport and get ready for that sport, even though they have to sit out that period of time? Or do we tell them no, and then what are we gonna do with them? Because we got to keep up with them during that time, and we don't want to just, you don't want to dedicate a coach to them that could be coaching the kids that are participating.
Right.
So I think there's something there that we need to also look at. But I'd like for y'all to take a look at that, see what you think. Have questions, holler at me. Like I said, I think it's a pretty solid deal. I like the way that they put it together and the things that they addressed in that policy.
And it leaves some sort of redemption there where they're not just banned forever.
Yeah, they're not banned forever.
Yeah, where they can actually see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna quit now, but I'm gonna have to miss some basketball, or I'm gonna quit basketball, I'm gonna miss some track or some baseball, that kind of deal.
So, just ask, real quick, the last sentence is becoming academically ineligible can also be considered quitting. Does that mean, because as I understand it now, if you become academically ineligible, it's only for that game or that week or that piece, right? You can, if you correct your grades, you can go back to playing the same sport you're entering now.
It's for at least 9 weeks.
It's a 9-week period.
Oh,
Wow.
okay. So I misunderstood that.
9 weeks at a time until the next grades come out,
Okay.
And that sounds really bad until you look at how easy it is to stay eligible.
Right, no, I've always thought we should be more strict.
I come from Texas, and it's a lot tougher to stay eligible because we can't get lower than a C over there. We can get a D here, so,
Yeah,
a kid can have a 60 and be eligible to
that's
participate.
crazy.
And then you can also use their cumulative average. They can flunk a class, and then they have a cumulative average from their sophomore year up that's over 2.0. They can still stay out and play. And over there you can't. You're out for. They got a 3-week period where
can get it back after 3 weeks if you take care of business, but it's a lot tougher than this, so. But I would say, you know, because it's a 9 weeks, it's difficult to say, but, you know, say a kid just says, well, I think I'll come up ineligible for this sport, then I'll be able to play the next one when I get eligible, and that'll be my excuse. That would, you know, that's what I would have that there in case somebody were thinking like that. But the 9 weeks is a long time. When you're out for 9 weeks, you're missing a lot of time. Yes, sir. A lot of time. So y'all, if y'all wanted to, want to give that a look, I think that's something that we should consider. Also was asked to kind of give you an update on everything that's going on. We have had a ton of stuff going on, and basketball tournament here this last weekend. That was insane because of the weather. We had 3 schools that didn't show up, 2 of them because of weather. And then one showed up the next day because they could get here the next day, and then one out in Midland for some crazy reason didn't show up at all. And they could have run a horse over here because the weather was not bad from that direction. But anyway, we got that done, and they were able to add a team. Tatum came over and played. They couldn't get to Lordsburg, so they were excited to get to come play 3 ball games in our tournament. But we had a lot of help from the community. A lot of folks pitched in, food, clocks, and all of that kind of business. As of right now, the boys are 6-6, and they're fixing to head down to Ruidoso this weekend. They'll stay down there for a couple of days and play Ruidoso, Corona, and Capitan. They're not playing in the tournament. The cool thing about that, I like the way Amy was thinking here, the JV can go and play too. If you play in a tournament, the JV probably not going to get to participate. So this way those kids can play too. So you'll take all those kids down there.
Is Corona a new thing?
No.
No? I
They
don't
were-
remember hearing about playing Corona.
They were supposed to be in our tournament. They're one of them that got snowed in and couldn't get here. Weather again.
They've got one of the best girl basketball players in the state.
We've not played.
They're just a long ways away.
No, we haven't played them, but they're not new.
I mean, that's what I meant, like us
Oh,
playing
Oh,
them.
yeah.
I've never heard of a game against Corona.
But they're just a good ways away. But anyway, the boys will be playing that bunch, and then the girls are 6-8, but the girls are really proud of them. They were able to pull one out Saturday, in a really tough, hard-fought battle with Magdalena, and Magdalena is a tough basketball school.
Aren't they ranked 2 or 3?
I don't know where they were ranked. I know their girls are tough. Their boys coach has 2 daughters on that team that are really outstanding, and he is an outstanding coach on the boys' side. And
They're ranked 3 in Atlantic.
the boys are,
The girls were.
the girls are, and our girls beat them. And it was at the end of the ball game. They were shooting and it didn't go in, and we beat them at 2. And our girls have lost a couple like that. So real exciting for them. I think that Coach Simmons is doing an outstanding job. Him and Coach Gonzalez really got the girls going in the right direction. Junior high wise, the blue bunch is 4 and 5, the gold bunch is 0 and 8. They played some good people. I don't know what we got to feed them to make them grow taller, but if we can figure it out, I know this man right here be feeding them because we're just smaller than everybody we play, and so I think we battle them up. We're in every ball game. We don't always get, rarely getting blown out, but it's just in the end, you get big guys inside. It's hard to pull a board when those big guys are playing handy over until they score, and we can't do much about it. So, but I think that's a good little bunch. I think they're getting better. In the girls' side, Coach here, Coach Knight, he's got the girls going there. They're 7 and 2.
As long as you don't throw a chair, we'll call it quits.
They're 7 and 2 and having a really good year. And they've been fun to watch too. They're real competitive. And then we started the year out, we only had 1 girls team. And we were right there on the cusp of having 2. And some of it had to do with kids not showing up for practice and all of that kind of stuff. And so these guys held to what they told them they would do. We didn't play any games for a little bit. And once everybody got straightened out and doing what they're supposed to, we started playing another girls team. So we've already played Loving. We played two teams the other day. I think they both won. And then we're going to Eunice Thursday, and we'll play two games in that with the girls and 2 games with the boys.
Hey, can I add something real quick? Our gold boys team is mostly 7th graders too, aren't they? They're probably playing mostly 8th grade teams.
Yeah, that would be,
Seventh, eighth grade, yeah.
Yes.
I think that would be.
there's a big growth deal there, and, yeah, our gold team is what most people would consider an 8th grade team, and our blue team, and then our gold team is mostly a 7th grade
Well,
team.
also Fritos over that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes a difference, for sure. And then coaches started powerlifting, him and my wife were powerlifting coaches, and they went to Lovington, took a couple of kids up there Saturday. We weren't, didn't feel like we had a lot of them prepared, so he picked out 2 of them that he thought would be ready to go, and I thought they competed well, and got to kind of get started on their season. Their next meet is February the 15th in Clovis, and so there'll be a lot more of them going to that meet than to the first one. And coach is working them out, and myself too, coming up in the mornings at 6:30 to get those kids ready for powerlifting, and then some of them have my weightlifting class too, so they're getting some good time in the weight room. So we've got just lots and lots and lots of things going on, lots of people going a lot of different directions. Think we're on the right track. People are doing a good job working hard, and the kids are doing a good job staying focused and doing what they're supposed to. So, and I know as far as eligibility is concerned, I think we only lost a couple of kids for the 9 weeks going into this first or second semester of the school year. So that's always good that we don't have any big surprises that we lost kids to.
Junior high, every single kid was eligible.
Yeah, that's a credit to the teachers and keeping the kids on task and working hard. So anyway, that's kind of where all that is. And then I gave you that policy, and I hope you'll look that over and kind of see what you think. You might have some other ideas that would go with that, and we can get back together again like next month, I guess, and kind of hammer that out and see if that's what we want to do. I also thought of something a while ago. This is off topic, but as we were talking about that facility out there for the visiting ball clubs, if you put a hallway in there and you kind of separated those 2 locker rooms, we could use that for track and put the boys in one side and the girls on the other side, and you get more bang for your buck because you wouldn't just be using it for out of football games. Those kids could use it in spring, and we're always out the track, coach got out of the bathroom, and back up to the building, but they just go right down there. So it would be handy if you maybe where we could do that. They'd have to be separated, obviously, but I didn't catch all of how that was designed.
Maybe each side, one side, each side.
I'll show you, and we'll talk about it some more with Mr. Loftus too.
Something to think about, like I said, more bang for your buck on that deal.
Okay.
So anyway,
So, Mr. Safran, real quick on this, do you, is there anything in this policy specifically you would change or you would not want to put in?
I didn't see anything in there that bothered me.
Okay.
I like the idea of having something that's really concrete like that we hand out and say, here's what we're gonna do. Then that doesn't put it all on me and everybody else to sit around and decide whether this kid's in good standings and whether he can move on to the next sport or not. It's just right there, it just says,
Did Loving make it a board policy or in their handbook policy, do you know?
that part I don't know, I just
Okay.
got it from Coach Santos.
I can check with Mr. White and ask him where they have it.
There is one thing, that would be the thing on what we would do with them if they quit that sport, could they go on in the off season to the next sport?
It takes a lot of gray area out where you know exactly what, they know exactly what's
Well, they can't say, well, he likes that kid, no, he doesn't like that kid,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think it just,
going to
So you just want to maintain it for a discussion next meeting as well? You're not looking for an
He's
action?
gonna come to you with an
Yes.
actual, he's gonna top an actual.
yeah, I'll put it all together, come up with a true proposal. I just wanted you to have something in your hand to look at, think about, and mull over a little bit before we get to that next board.
Now, if he does have it, you could say, yeah, but I saw that, maybe we could take this out and look and see.
I just want to make sure.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Y'all have any questions for me?
No,
No, sir, all right, thank y'all for having me.
very much.
Thank you.
All right, let's see, our strategic plan, that's good.
Okay, so on the strategic plan, we pretty much had, this is the goal number 1 was to improve student literacy in mathematics by 20% over the next 3 academic years with a fully articulated instructional program. We pretty much revamped it, and goal 1 now says increase student proficiency in literary and mathematics by 20% over the next 5 academic years. We had one of the consultants come in And they said, 20%, 3 years is almost, no, you can't, it's almost unattainable. Over the next 5 academic years by implementing a structured and inclusive instructional program that provides targeted support and resources to all students and subgroups to ensure equitable access to a high-quality education. So we kind of revamped that one, made it a little better. We also added in all of our different testing data. So this is what we do, so that way you guys know from elementary,
Do you have copies of that? Or
yeah, you'll get a copy of it. It's the WIDA, W-I-D-A. We have iStation, and these are all acronyms. These are all MAPS, which is the big one that we did from the state. NMSSA, NMASR, TSAT, and SAT. So you know there are that many things woven into the instructional program on testing. What we're really doing, we're taking a lot of MAPS data because the MAPS data, the short cycle is kind of iStation in elementary, and then MAPS data kind of bookends it. Junior high and high school, MAPS data. That's kind of the common thread. And so we're looking at a lot of the MAPS data and the growth across grade levels. Right now,
I've got just a quick question. The NMSAR, why do we get those results a year later?
The state doesn't produce it.
because the state.
See, what's the point of it?
There is no point. I mean, I'm just saying, there would be a point if we could use the data, if it was, that's why we're doing our local with Mr. V, basically.
Okay.
So Mr. V's collecting a lot of data, and so what he's doing with that data is giving it to the principals. Then the principals are taking it, and I think we've made adjustments already based on it. Mrs. Colmar has done a lot of math, we added Mr. Willman's position, we've done a lot of math things based on that. Really not just iStation, but MAPS is the most consistent thing that we're using. But he's also looking at it in junior high, he's looking at it in high school. High school, we were talking about how 10th grade almost becomes a no man's land because the state has not required anything.
9 or 10.
Nothing, 9 through 10, but we're using our MAPS data to inform the instruction. That data can also be correlated to the program we're using for reading, the Read 180, and that program can be correlated to that as well. And so that's why we're going on our own on that, because the data isn't mine. We know from year to year. We know the MAPS data. We use it as a short, it's 3 times a year. So we're getting three different pieces of data. iStation is more monthly from Mrs. Colmar, and then all these other ones are also affiliates. So we also took the strategic plan number 1 and added a lot of our timeline into it here. And whenever it's going to be completed, so you guys will get a copy of this. This is just the latest. There's nothing to approve other than just giving you an update. From the old, we just kind of went in and took everything, put everything the way we wanted it. The consultant that was the former superintendent of Albuquerque, he will be here tomorrow. So we're gonna go all of our changes. A lot of this is based on his feedback and ours as well, what we've been noticing. That's for strategic goal number 1. Number 2.
Real quick, Mr. Sponsor's gonna get out.
Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Yeah,
The next
Chelsea.
one,
sure, yeah. Be safe.
I'm not handing the records.
Thank you.
Goal number 2 centers around community involvement. However, they had a 20% improvement on community involvement. There's no possible way to gauge an increase by 20%. What we're gonna do with that is surveys, sign-in sheets, parent, like the December festival they had at high school. Mrs. Colmar has events all the time at elementary. We use that with sign-in sheets and how many parents are attending. That's what we're gonna look at, is if that improves. And the number of events we have, that's what we're gonna look at in our data grid. There's no 20% on that. As we were talking to him, he agreed, so there's no way to do 20% improvement on that. How would you measure that? So that's our goal number 2 that we changed, the main part. And then goal number 3 was our career and technical program. Since those pathways, a lot of them are developing, along with the wood shop, the auto mechanics, and the welding. The oil and gas is brand new. We added that in along with the curriculum that we're going to use. And so our energy pathway curriculum is going to be the Southern Region Education Board. That's what we're using for it. And it is the oil and gas pathway that Odessa, 13 other states are using, starting in Texas. It's the Southern Consortium. We are not in that currently, but they are welcoming us with open arms in New Mexico because we're right there in line with Texas and El Paso's using it, Odessa's using it. And the Odessa one is using it verbatim of what we're gonna use on the oil and gas.
We're really the biggest
The biggest,
producing county in the.
and us and the Permian are the big dogs anyway, so why not use what we're not gonna reinvent the wheel over there. But we are tweaking it and going with our oil and gas committee. That meeting is tomorrow with them. We're about to kind of almost, not really disband, but start meeting a lot less because they've already put a lot of input in, and we've got the first year just about mapped out on the scope and sequence. We're also developing scope and sequence with math and reading all the way through. That will be ready to roll in August. That is also reflected in this document. What I'm gonna do is send you guys an email with this document in it, and it'll have the latest one. It'll be 1A. That's gonna be the latest one. And then as we do it and we update it, and I give you the update, I'll always update you with either an email or if you want a hard copy. How would y'all prefer it?
Email's
Yeah,
fine.
that's fine.
Okay, that way you'll always get the latest in what we're working on. Would like y'all to look at it, go over it, say, okay, this is great, we're on track, this is where we need to go. If not, or you see something different, or you get feedback from the community, be sure and then call me, and let me know if you guys are seeing a gap or a hole or something. So that way you'll know. And then I have that copy of it, but it's really, I couldn't give you another copy tonight, but you have nothing to compare it to.
Oh, right.
So that's why I was like, why would I give them a copy when they don't even know what's been corrected in the version?
I didn't know if there was a way to make it easier to redline to understand.
Like to help highlight or redline.
Yeah,
We can do that.
I don't know, it seems like there's a lot there, I might be difficult.
Yeah, and then we can do it on the next one, because now we're just getting it kind of refined to the point where if we do make changes, that we either redline or highlight or add on. Okay. And is there do you guys have any other questions on the strategic plan update? No.
Yes, sir.
And partnership opportunity for the indoor golf facility with the Woolworth Trust. I'm gonna leave that on the agenda. Be thinking about it, because you can just kind of let it sink in and process it. You got pictures of the facilities. How far do you think the school wants to go? Do you think it's 100,000, 500, a million? I mean, and then I'll do the legal legwork to make sure we're, with attorneys and everything, make sure that we're not overstepping anything on our, no, I don't think unless it's like Title IX or something, which I don't see that it would be, because we've literally got
I think you'll be fine as long as you can justify with.
The use of public money, school district money for that, that's the only outlier, I think.
Which first key is a curriculum, so, I mean, it's very, very much, I mean, it'd be all.
We can start a
Bowling team. A football team. But anyway, so that's where we're at with that. We'll continue discussion if that's all right, if you want to entertain the continuance of that discussion.
I'm thinking of a bass fishing team.
There you go. That's fine, man.
That is actually a thing. It is in college, but that's.
Part of mine's the University of Alabama, I think.
Oh, really?
Really?
Coaches for
There's some high schools in Texas that have
Yeah.
bass fishing teams.
Oh, yeah, that's crazy. They're all sponsored.
And so that's pretty much it on that one too, so.
All right, any questions on that? No? Item number 8, future discussion or consideration. Is it possible, sir, to get, when Parkus and Cooper gives these PowerPoints?
Mhm.
Do you have those ahead of time, like you
I
could?
usually can get them, yes.
Because I think that would be nice to have in email, like when.
Would y'all like to have them too?
Well, the reason being is because it is really nice when we see, primarily for pictures and things like that, when community members ask, we can go,
Oh.
this is what it's gonna look like, or these are our plans and ideas, and everything.
I can refer to
that.
The only things that may not be completely accurate, because I go through and change some of their stuff, like as far as what they designed and their use of the room. I didn't see that as even coaches.
Even if it was
That
just
will be
after,
coaches, that will be,
even if it was after the meeting.
Yeah.
Once you've made your changes.
Okay, and then y'all will know what the changes are when you see it. You'll see, well, that's not gonna be.
And the name of it is not really, the coach.
I can do that the next day after the board meeting, because see, a lot of it you haven't approved. I don't wanna give you stuff that you.
Yeah,
And
I
then-
just,
and then-
yes,
yeah.
so we have it sometime in our
Yes,
emails.
I'll get it shared.
With the community.
I think that's a great idea. Anything open like that, because I do not want to get bundled into anyone else, or anything else going on, or clinic and city stuff is different than ours. But whenever it's the same company going around doing it all, people start lumping it in. And whether it's good or bad, sometimes it's not all bad, but yeah, I agree with you 100%. That I'll do our updates independent of all that with Facebook, and then that kind of keeps everybody on where they know what's going on. So, yes. You might remind me of that if you guys don't get it,
Yes, sir.
but I'll email that to you.
Is there any items for this future discussion?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Principal reports.
Mrs. Corr, would you like to start?
Yeah. So, our classroom enrollment is at 295.
Goodness.
And we're getting some more this week, early next week.
I understand they have a junior high and high school kid too, so you're gonna be getting some.
as well. Thank you for selecting the Christmas card winners. Here you go. We had a fifth grader, Sophia Leandro Mendoza, second grade in Brooklyn. Right, yeah, she's a third grader. They always get so excited for this. Yeah, and then it was nice that you did the honorable mentions. Our elementary spelling bee, we did the spelling bee right before we got out for Christmas, and that was Kyrie Ehrenfeld, the alternate was Sophia Nardone. Both fourth graders, we had 45 participants from third through fifth. It's the longest spelling bee we've had. They were, what, it was like an hour and a half.
You didn't call that lunch, and
It
everybody-
did, it was a lunch, because the kids were doing phenomenal.
Yeah, they did.
He was very proud of them. Kyrie was unable to participate in the Lee County Spelling Bee in Hobbs, though Sophia competed in her place, and she was able to make it to round 5. So she did not have any warning, so I was pretty proud of her.
And we had a mix up with Hobbs not giving us the day and time of the spelling bee. They contacted junior high, but the junior high was like, oh, yeah, but the junior high didn't know that they weren't letting the elementary know. So anyway, the Hobbs deal that was on their end, they said they do have it fixed, and they have our contacts emails. That was-
Correct.
Anyway, that was the problem.
Right, and that's why she did it, because it was so last minute. So that has been resolved. December 17th was our elementary Christmas program. It was a huge success. We had, literally, it was standing room only. We had so many people in there. It was spectacular. She was did such a good job. Then January 6th, the day we came back, we had active shooter training, our staff participation, and I overheard a couple of times the guy that runs it telling a few of the teachers is that they have not seen or been to a school that seems more secure or safe than what we have.
That's good.
So that was really good.
And they also put that on the staff too, not just the facility. They said you're a combination of facility and staff members that know kind of, well, I guess we've been doing this training for several years. The clinic has contacted me since then, and they want to do one day, which is awesome.
I was gonna ask
You will love
what
it.
it was. I can't, it's that group that we met up
Global
there.
One.
It's the group that we met up there years ago, right?
Yes, years ago, and we've been using them for 6 or 7, no, Global One, it's a private company.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and they were just, I mean, and I said, y'all just say that. They said, no, we're not. There are defense contracts we have in Albuquerque where those people in the Department of Defense aren't as ready as you guys. We're the teachers, I was knocking them out. Or I think I'm getting something out, I don't know.
We're picturing
Mr. Bill and Ms. Comar.
True.
I don't know, it didn't seem like what a, God.
It did, there was I'm telling you, she was stepping back, okay. Put that one in the front office. And then, of course, right now we have ice station. We just finished up ice station testing last week. We are finishing our MAPS testing. Tomorrow we should be finished with it, and then so I'll have the data for you for next month's meeting for how we're doing. Third and fourth grade going to attend the symphony on January. The 3rd goes on the 27th, the 4th goes on the 28th. It's the Southwest Symphony. They don't really come to the schools. They just bring all of Lee County. Look, all of the 3rd graders will be traveling the same day. 5th grade went last month, and then 3rd and 4th will be going in this month, at the end of this month. We just received, thank you guys for approving that Into Math curriculum. We just received our books Thursday, and we distributed them all Friday, and we will be meeting on Wednesday to discuss implementation because it's a 2-year, so we got a 2-year quote, and for elementary, most of those books are consumable. So we need to go through and decide, are we gonna try and use what we have for right now and then kind of, the only thing is if we have it for 2 years, what are we gonna do with that last semester right before we get adopted? Or do we wanna go through it and then make sure that we're familiar with it because they are gonna come and train us on how to use it? And then be ready to go in August, which I think we're kind of moving towards doing that. And I think that is all I have. Do you guys have any questions? No, ma'am.
So, thank you very much.
So did you want me to email this to you? I didn't know if you wanted to, you have that right?
I like getting our stuff in, the packets, so
That way you always know where to
more
find
time
it.
deleted is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you're like, I need to vote, when's that going on? You're right.
Okay, so I'll just email those to you. So what I'll do is, at the beginning of the new year, that, like right before I come over here, we'll go on to you, we'll have them.
Perfect, thank you so much.
And then I've also been forwarding you guys the high school recommendation. Do y'all like that?
Yeah, we put bulletin.
You know what's going on all weekend? Okay.
Well, I told him, we don't have any sports or things, so
I know,
for
they
some
don't
weeks,
have
we
it.
don't have anything.
They almost put something every day, so, yeah, so that's what we were doing.
But I could probably do a monthly one.
Yeah,
I could probably
we
do a
can,
monthly.
anything like that, I'll just send you some, we can send some more back and look.
That's the biggest thing, is when I try to reference.
I said, I can't even on paper.
Yeah, it's on paper, not in the email. Sure.
This is just a monthly calendar that I give you, so it's got all our events on there.
Did you only have to do
Starting today, January 13th, the school board meeting. Tomorrow we have a cadre meeting at 7 o'clock in the morning. We have an also program project committee meeting. Wednesday we have kind of free day. Joking, it's not free. Anyways, long story short, I'm not gonna go over everything. You can look through that if you like. We try to keep everything within the district that's occurring on this calendar. This is the district shared calendar. So whenever I do a weekly bulletin, this is what I basically go by. And so I probably won't email these to you since I give it to you, and he's forwarding that to me.
Through,
So I'll talk about real quick, our Winter Expo, we did that, since the last board meeting, it was, we had over 100 attendees, probably. I've been here the last 2 years, and I don't think we did one of the years. It was the food. But the year, yeah, I did advertise the menu over and over and over beforehand, so I think that's why they all showed up. In fact, a couple people walked in today and laughed.
We don't let any kids there. No.
Food was amazing. As I'm telling you, we've been spending a lot of work on curriculum. Mr. Loftus is doing a lot of behind the scenes work on that. That's part of our plan, our strategic plan, and there's a lot to that. A lot of things y'all don't want to even, I mean, we can stay here all night if you wanted to talk about it, but no, you don't want to do that. We're taking care of business. We've done our short cycle assessment, second maps. I've looked at the data. I kind of know where we're doing a good job, where we're not doing a good job, where we need to make adjustments. But until we get the curriculums written, which we're working on, it's going to be. If y'all want to spend a couple hours up here some night, we'll sit down and we'll explain to you every single thing that we're doing.
Okay, we just met this morning about it actually. So we're trying
Spend a couple of hours.
what we're trying to do is just make sure that the curriculum is there. That's where Mr. Loftus and AI, he's becoming a master of artificial intelligence. And so
Scare me.
it is kind of scary, but it's helping us. But anyway, we're putting all of that together. And then the teachers, where they come in and their buy-in is they put it into where they want to teach it in the scope and sequence. And they say, okay, first 9 weeks, third week, this is where I'm putting that. They take it kind of like a puzzle and they put it all together. So that's where they can't develop that curriculum. It's just too much.
And once it's all developed, we can measure it, and if it's not working, we can make adjustments.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And that's just a lot to it.
That's just in a nutshell too.
So in our teacher meetings, we have one every week, and one thing we're working on now is I bought everyone a book on cooperative learning from Kagan. And so we're doing a book study, and so every week we'll cover a chapter. And a different staff member is going to actually demonstrate what they learned in that chapter and how they would use it in their classroom. So I think it's a good idea. Keep my short, so that's all I have. Mr. He covered all the athletics.
Perfect, thank you, sir. Appreciate you.
We also thought every once in a while, we'll have Mr. Satterwhite come in and talk to you just to give you an update on athletics, because you don't hear that enough, right? Sometimes you don't have a clue, and so it'd be nice to bring him in and say, this is what's going on with each of the different things at this point. And that way you'll kind of get a better picture. With him as AD, pretty much concentrating on that only right now, he's able to do that. And he's not, before it's just been one of the administrators tonight. Well, it's nice having that position where we can just call him in and he can give you an update.
All right, your report, sir.
Okay, so my report is short and sweet as well. I did have just some dates and things we need to look out for. We did reschedule today for the Martin Luther. I just wanted to make sure everybody knew that going into today. I should have probably reminded you before today, but, I had a few reach out last week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'll go just a second.
Yeah,
I had a spot.
do you not, you should have a district enrollment, or do you not have the?
Yeah, we have.
Okay, we're K through 12 though. We want to-
Junior high is 121,
Yes,
high school is 156.
and yeah, I had that online, but I did not have it broke out by campus. And elementary's hugging about 300, right?
295.
Yeah.
I'm getting another one tomorrow.
What is that from the beginning of the year?
Wow.
So, anyway, that's the district enrollment piece. So if you look at 40th and 80th and 120th and then end of year, you can look at, since we've been doing this, we're at the peak, on that, since we've been keeping track of it. So that's really good to see that.
And actually, we're higher right now, right?
Yes, 552 is the end of the day, and the highest we've been is 552. We did, we've recovered fully from the COVID slump that we had there for a while. And so that we're completely recovered from that and then moving forward from there.
So right now, we're at 572.
Well, his number probably counting preschool kids a half too, there's a lot.
Yeah, pre-K does not, they don't.
I mean,
They for each side.
We're at 552 here.
Where do you see, where are you looking? Yes.
Well, right now, 295 for elementary and 277 is 570.
Good, well, some of those elementary ones don't count as
Full body.
what I'm saying. They don't
Oh,
count-
I see.
Because they're half a day each class, so you don't count on,
Understood.
two different pre-K becomes one.
That's
That's why that's what it is.
understood. Okay.
I'm almost certain. The NMSBA Board Member Institute, it's gonna be 13 through 15. Jim and Renee already have previous engagements, is that right?
I'm in Australia, sorry.
I hope it's spider season there.
So,
I had to buy a skinny suit. That's scary.
do you know, I mean, you guys both.
I had planned.
Perfect, so I already made reservations for 3 others. And I think I have Renee on there. So just saying, I don't. But anyway, I still have 3 plus me, there's 4 of us.
I'll text you.
Just to, yeah, if you would. My evaluation, that needs to be scheduled because it's February that you normally do it. This is already, by the time we have our next meeting, it will be February. If you want to schedule it at the next meeting, or would you like to do it now? That's up to y'all.
Kind of hard to schedule with 2 gone.
Yes.
I would say.
What are the dates again for the February?
15.
13 through 15.
Valentine's weekend.
And then we will have our board meeting the 17th on President's Day, because it's a regular school day. That way we'll know. We're not gonna be off that day,
Okay.
so I'm not prepared. So if you want to put it in that same week of February 17th.
Yeah, I won't be here that week. I won't, well,
Oh,
so, well, and it's obviously it's up to y'all.
Are you just gone a week, 10 days, 14?
We meet the 13th
Uh-huh.
and we don't get back until March 1st.
What?
Wow.
Gee, man, hey, I'm gonna.
That's a long way to go.
Yeah, it
Little trip on the body.
So we might just need to look at getting it in prior to
We get back
the
next.
13th, 12th, 10th, something like that.
Yeah.
You know, let's skip Valentine's Day when we fly to Australia.
Really? You just totally miss it.
I leave on the 13th and I get there on the 15th.
There you go.
Good for you.
I feel like that was on purpose.
Awesome.
I feel like that was on purpose.
Nice.
What's the motto be in the air?
Literally, yeah, right. Her birthday's the 17th, so I think she'll be all right.
Yeah, so if y'all leave that week before, what did you say y'all leave on the? I mean, I would say the three that's always here, y'all can schedule it, see if they can come, and then I can maybe
Or you guys could have your board meeting, and then we could,
do that.
the first week or so of March, we could do, because the evaluation should be held, we need a separate meeting for that.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Yeah,
he's saying we'll
schedule it.
Oh, yeah, so we can do that anytime after the 2nd of March.
Or before the 13th.
The evaluate, should do, yes, it's evaluation.
evaluation.
Right, yes, ma'am, yes.
I'm okay with doing it that
Monday before the 10th.
February 10th?
I'm okay with
What
that.
day is that?
It's a Monday.
Monday.
Monday? Oh,
I mean, it's up to you, what do you think?
I'm good with that.
You good with
At
that?
least put it on the calendar for me.
Okay, right.
At 5 o'clock?
Sure.
Yes, sir. I sent out a text message to everybody, just to see who's going to exam, or,
So prior to 2/10, if we do that, will we have last year's evaluation?
yes,
And
yes, I will send you all of that stuff this time. Make sure you have all of it. Better than last time.
Okay, so we got that. Current projects, we just went over all that. Paving project, the only one is area right here next to the church and the baseball field lot that we're still gonna apply for LGRF funding. And that's the conclusion of mine. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Wouldn't we notify LGR whether we get it like April or May or something
It's
like that?
random, because last time we got it way after we got the project done, and it usually is spring, but sometimes it's February, sometimes it's May, when they notify us.
Okay.
I have two questions for you. One is, what did we decide on when we had sent the survey out for the teachers, if they wanted to carry? We had like a split, like 50-50 of who wanted to carry and who wasn't comfortable carrying.
Oh,
I feel like we tabled that, or just like, what did we do on that?
the only thing I think that's what it was, is there was an SRO in each building, and
Yeah, so what we did is, there was it was like a 50-50 split. But there was some question regarding the legality in New Mexico. There are districts that have done it. Palms and Associates, our insurance company, wasn't really a fan. They didn't say we couldn't.
Sure.
So at that point, we, of course, just assured that there was a second SRO. And that's where we ended that. We just kind of,
It wasn't the majority of interest, it was just kind of.
right, yeah, we just kind of ended the discussion
Okay.
based off of concerns from some of the staff. And then, of course.
So it's not really up for discussion anymore, right? Unless
Well,
somebody
unless
brings it
somebody
up.
wants to push back up for discussion.
Okay,
Remember, we had the one SRO that was having to go between campuses.
Right.
Yeah,
And that's what part of that was, and then when we hired the second SRO, so we always had one, they always had one.
yeah.
I think that's kind of why it went by the wayside,
Yeah.
is because we had.
That makes
SRO.
sense.
And it wasn't even that we didn't let it die, we just chose, based on what Palms told us.
Okay.
And the concerns from some of the staff.
I just couldn't remember. It's been so long and my husband brought it up when we were talking about the active shooter training.
and you're like, what
I said,
happened?
I remember talking about it, but I don't remember where we left it.
We just, that's what we done.
Okay, so, and my second question is the high school musical, is the date set?
Yes.
It is gonna be,
February's, I believe it's 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Yeah.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
I was double checking to make sure that was still the date, okay?
Yes, ma'am, yeah. And we'll get that out in a poster, we have the poster pretty much.
That's something I don't have on that calendar, so.
Yeah, I didn't see it on the list.
I'll get that. I'll get that on there, and I'll get, and then we'll get posters out, because I don't want other people to come and lay them down, so seniors,
Yeah.
everybody, people, senior citizens.
It's gonna be great.
7 days a month.
People that wouldn't even, people that look at normally what's going on in school, you know, like even at the clinic, if we could put a poster, or the city hall, the senior center. We'll work on that. Good question.
Anybody have anything else?
Nope.
All right,
Good.
we need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Yeah, anything you can get, or anything in email form.
That way you can refer to it.
What happens is I try to do something.
And I know, I think we referred for an hour. Because I'm not, that's not my bulletin.
With the gold, I get it sent from Mr. Snyder, and I get it on Parents Corner. I get it in my email. Brandon's not available.
No, I know.
I'm gonna have it tomorrow. Is Sam coming?
No.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's big and then-
Yes.
Okay, so I just met Nikki.
Yeah, I told her. She's been making an area for years. She's been there 12 to 13 years. She's away all over. She's basically the house. She started maybe 5, 6 years before she went out politics. So yeah, like, she took care of a lot of our business. Yeah, she's really out there. You know what's the guys go.
Yes, we're gonna call it.
Yeah, I don't yeah, it's so crazy. Get a steam suit. When you go, we're gonna go scuba diving while we're over there. And then-
Like deep, deep.
Yeah. I don't know. It all depends on what we're gonna dive. I'm not sure. I mean, because I don't know, I mean, I know where we're gonna dive, but I don't know the likes.
Town where they've got like, I'd say it's
But-
like, buildings that have that, you know, but, I mean, I just can't imagine.
Great thinking about it.
Really, you know what's the weirdest thing is that if you think of it, I can understand why that's the way.
Yeah.
But outside of that,
And if your rent is higher,
if you can just relax.
I mean,
You
yeah,
can just,
they're not-
well, you just
I'm
realize.
saying, these guys are just out here working.
They're not gonna allow them to go and have a martini, they're doing.
They're the most relaxing.
No, it's not.
Is it, you don't think so?
No.
Oh my god.
No, I did it.
Didn't you just?
No,
have a hard time?
Yeah. I cannot watch a movie
Really?
or a show when someone's underwater too long or something.
Really? So you don't, see, I just.
I can't, because all I can do is listen, try to talk my, make fun of me all you want, but I cannot go into, I cannot stay in water above my head.
Really?
Even though I can sort of swim,
Right.
so it freaks me out. I have got to where I can touch my head is above water.
Really?
I feel awesome.
Interesting, you know that.
I love to go swimming though, I grew up in the lakes, yeah.
Right, right.
Me too.
Yeah, no, but you have to have a sting suit because of the,
Stingrays.
no, the jellyfish.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, you'll swim in the whole school or something like
Yeah,
that.
you'll be, you can't get away from it.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. We put these things on just to try them on. We look like two Teletubbies. All you see is our face.
Okay, I need pictures.
Yeah, oh, no,
I
it'll
need
never be a
pictures.
picture. It'll never be a picture.
Yes.
And then I sent, there was this video that popped up
yesterday or the day before, I can't remember. Anyways, this guy and his kid are scuba diving, they're not, obviously that's structured. He wasn't scuba diving, he was spearfishing, the kid was, and the kid was probably 12, 13, 14 years old. And he had shot a fish and was swimming up to the back of the boat, he's on the back of the boat ladder, and he picks up his fish, and he goes like this, boom, drops the back of the boat. And this little like 3-foot shark just all of a sudden just jumps up and like grabs his sweatsuit right here. Because you know, when he picked his fish up, the shark was coming.
The shark was like, that was my fish.
Oh my God.
But, yeah, so I don't know how deep, because I don't know where we dive. You know, most dives though, if you're going for, I mean, like, we usually dive for, you know, anything deeper than 60 feet is,
I was gonna tell you,
you lose so much after 40, 50 feet. You lose so much. Well, it's darker. And then, you know, the colors on the fiber, because it really requires sunlight. So, you know, most of the times we do
it's okay.
max of 50 feet. But most of the time it's something. But I think we're going back to reach, like they're just gonna lie down. You know, I think it's a lifetime, I always wanted to do it.
High school kids.
But,
Like,
yeah,
access the summer program.
it'll be interesting, because I had, we did a shark cage dive.
From the bus barn when you were saying.
Yes.
In 2018.
Tear stuff out.
Training I did in
What's the,
Napa
if
and,
the
Waterloo, North Shore area. And that was pretty cool. You know, we got the cage, and there was probably 15 sharks around us. And the cage hasn't worked this big, but it's toxic. So it looks like you can just stick your, it's, the weird part though, was that it's a big cage, of course, but, you know, the opening part is big. So, you know, once you set your buoyancy control and you're in there, you can easily just drift it or sink and put your foot or leg through there, stick your arm through it, or, you know, whatever. And there was probably anywhere from 8 to 12 sharks around us all the time. Like literally right, it's like.
How do they chum in, come around, or?
So in that North Shore area, that's where the largest great white has ever been videoed. The only ones on film is right there. It was actually the same company, diving company that we were with, that videoed it. And that you'll see if it jumps in and swims with it, that's the owner of the company. He was like this dare. He was doing a he sort of jumps off the boat.
And then they're born. What's he doing besides he wants to eat it?
He wasn't a big eater, so he didn't eat, but he was a daredevil. He did one of those little wings that just jumps out of running years later. Anyway, so what happens is, it's in this area that's really deep, like 400 or 500 feet.
Well, good for you. I
Like
like that.
yeah, it's really weird actually. So when you're in the water, what happens, it's a lane where the fishing boats used to come through, or they still do come through. So when the sharks hear boats, they just.
They know,
Because as they're feeding, they're gonna be chumming the water. So, yeah, that was really cool. And then.
No matter how much you try to convince yourself, you know, they can't get to me, still, I mean, your heart rate's not, yeah. Thank you.
I could go snorkeling.
Yeah, I only had one open water shark experience, and it was on that same vacation. And
Oh, we're still on
we were
that.
out diving, and I can't
It's on that
remember where we were. I mean, we were in Hawaii, but I can't remember what area.
Where do you see that?
Anyways, and so we're out there,
No, that's.
No, right here.
we go out there, and Brandy,
But I-
she had something wrong with her
CBS
regular,
Irish
so she got some salt water into the first tank.
Oh.
And so she was kind of sick to her stomach, so she had
This,
to dive.
it would be right here, take it.
Oh.
Me and Di Master
Okay.
Comments or questions, and this is how many people are there.
But she's flagging me over, we're probably only 25, 30 foot deep. And she's down and there's this huge reef, but there's like this cave that goes under this reef. And she's sitting there, she's pointing in the cave. I'm like, I go down, you know, I'm trying to look in there, and it's big. I mean, the cave entrance is probably as big as that window and door. I mean, it's really big. And I'm like right in the middle, and I'm looking in it, and it's deep and it's dark. I'm not about to go in there. She's pointing, and the current's kind of wanting to pull me that way, so I'm fighting myself a little bit. And all of a sudden, I see a flash, and I'm like, what the heck? And all of a sudden, there's probably somewhere between 6 and 8 foot black tip reef shark comes blowing out of that hole. I mean, so I'm here, she's probably where you are, swimming, and this shark goes